I'll leave it over to you, boss.
We should be live now as they do it, but I'm going to have the chat on as well. Well, we are live because I just got a notification on my phone. There we go. Let me pause it. Okay. And then let me, I'm going to have to look at the chat on my phone, I think. Yeah, I'm going to look at the chat on my phone. Okay, so we are live now. Hello. I should probably share this too. You know what? I'm going to go online real quickly. Sorry for the unprofessionalism. As you can see, I have a special guest here. This is Fiona O'Hagan. I've had her on before. Now, don't try. You probably need to speak a little bit louder. Okay. Since we don't have a microphone. So I'm going to go on YouTube, and then I'm going to share it. There's already 3 people watching. Hello, hello. Hey, Sarah and Julia. It's Sarah and Julia. Hey, guys. I'm going to go share this, or one of you can share it. I'll just share it really quickly in the group on Facebook. I do have, they have Wi-Fi here. This is very impromptu. I didn't even do an announcement for it. So let's see how it goes. All right, sharing it here real quickly. All right, how you guys doing? I miss you. I'm all the way over here and the other end of the world. But look at how light it is. Let me turn it this way. Look how light it is. And it's 9:50. 9:50 p.m. here. So I am just completely shocked at how light it remains.
It gets dark late and it gets bright early during summer. We have very little dark time.
Yeah, very little. All right, let's get right on this. Okay, so I wanted to talk with Fiona. I will be traveling back on Monday, so I will not be doing a Gently Little Sisters Monday night. I'm hoping by the next week to be back on schedule as we do it. But I need it. There we go. Get us both in the shot. We're both matching today. Our Irish colors. Yes, Irish green. Okay, so we wanted to talk about, we've just been sitting around chatting all week that I've been here. I've been here since Monday. Today is Saturday, like I said, almost 11 p.m. Ireland time. And we've just been chatting all week about different subjects. And so I kind of wanted to pick Fiona's brain about just some of the stuff that we've been chatting about off and on. First off, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm Fiona and I'm married to Clive and we have 2 boys. Niall, who's 18, and Oisin, who's 13. So we live down south of Ireland in a county called Cork. So yeah, we're married since 2002. And yeah, we're saved now about coming on 10 years. And my husband got saved first. He got saved through preaching online with Pastor Anderson. He was researching the financial crash and all that and came across after the tribulation. And then, yeah, so that's us.
So can you tell us a little bit about, go into a little bit more detail about the salvation? He got saved first. He thought he was a crazy man.
Yeah, I remember he said, I'm going down to get a book. And I said, okay. So he came back and I said, what book did you get? And he said, the Bible. And I actually thought he was having a nervous breakdown. There was little bits going on, you know, like I would have been raised Catholic. Clive was raised Catholic. His mom was Protestant. His dad is Catholic. He was raised Catholic, but I would have been the one that brought kids to mass and did all that sort of stuff. So when he came in talking about God, I was like, my God? You're talking about my God. So yeah, so he had a not a tough time trying to convince me, but just for me to even listen to the gospel. Because I had confused born again with Jehovah's Witness, Mormons, because that's all we knew in Ireland at the time. You know, when people came knocking at the door, you just said, no, thank you, you close the door. So yeah, so he gave me the gospel and then we went from there and we joined a church. We went there for a while, then we were home for a while. And then we found the church that we're in now and we love it. Pastor Craig Ledbetter is the pastor there, and yeah.
And they
pretty much
found a Baptist church.
Baptist church, yeah, and they go soul winning, and yeah, it's great. And Niall got saved before me, actually, my 18-year-old. It wasn't long, it was a few months, but Niall was saved first, and then me, and then Oisin, and then we were all baptized. Yeah, so life has been good since God came into our home, I have to say. Yeah, it's been great.
And they found us 5 years ago?
18. So Pastor Anderson was organizing a Soul Win American.
That's right.
In
It was a Soul Win American.
So my husband said, why don't we go soul winning? And we were going to go to a church in Tennessee at the time. Was it Kentucky? And we were Tennessee. We were torn between there. And then the reason we picked your church was because there was a direct flight from Dublin to Chicago. So normally I organize all the holidays, and this one I didn't do anything. Clive just said, this is where we go, and I was like, oh, okay. And then we went, and even the night before, my son was really ill the night before. Remember, he had a sore throat, and I got it as well. And we were in the hotel, and I was like, oh, we don't know anybody tomorrow. We're going to church. And sure, the minute we walked in to your church, it was like a bit.
You'd always belong there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And our kids hit it off, and it was great. We were there at that time for 2 weeks. That was March 18, and then my husband went back another time to your church for preaching that Pastor Anderson was doing, and then the following year, and then that July we went for the summer for 3 or 4 years. We were due to go again in 2020, but then with COVID, we couldn't travel, and now we can't travel either because
Biden is stupid. Biden has not. America is the only country that has not opened up the country to unjabbed people, unjabbed non-citizens. So even though I can travel freely and my son can come here, because Ireland has no rules right now.
No,
we're open. They're open. So it was affecting their tourism and economy and stuff. So they want Americans to come spend money here. So now I can go back without being jabbed to America since I'm a citizen, but not a citizen.
Yeah, and anybody that lives here. Funny enough, that business people, I'm not sure how that works, but look, it's like everything. Some people can, some people can't, but mainly unjabbed, unhoped people can't go.
Yeah.
So
we're waiting. But obviously we become very close over the years, which is why I'm here. They weren't worried I was some serial killer or something.
No, or you with us.
Or me with you, yeah.
Because I did say to Cassandra, the way we all love visitors, and they come and you're like, yeah, come on, whatever. And then after a few days, you're like, okay. And then it's like, when are they going home? But that has not happened. Sure hasn't at all. And I knew that. And my boys we've just been laughing the whole time. We've had a great time.
Yeah, our boys are off somewhere. So
in the forest.
We told them to be quiet when they come in, but they might not be.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to kind of go over. We were talking about Ireland and the culture, and I feel like this culture with women is I feel like this culture is like other cultures when it comes to working moms. Can you kind of just explain the culture of Irish women, working women?
Yeah, like predominantly most Irish women would go to college after school, and then they would go on and have a career. And that's what I did. Well, I did my leaving cert, and then I got a government job, and I worked in a government job, and then I had Niall. Funny enough, it never settled well with me when I had my son that I was going to work. It just never sat right. So I went back to work when I was 1, because I was lucky. I was in a government job and I was able to take time off without pay. And then after 8 months working, I quit. I took a career break. So we moved. We built our own home in Nuk, where my husband's from, and that was like quite unusual, and it was beautiful. And we put 3 years into it, 3 years hard work. And then one day, I said, "What if we moved down the country, and then you could stay home?" Because financially at the time we couldn't. Now that I know what I know now, I would never have gone into that, that big mortgage in the first place. So you can stay at home if you put your mind to it. I feel. Anyway, it's the culture to work as a mom in Ireland, but it just never sat right. And then when we got saved, I continued to work for a little bit, and then it was just, I was constantly conflicted and uneasy. So then I decided to retire when I hit 50. And I'm retired now. Yeah, at home.
And you're loving it.
And I love it. Life is so much calmer. And I have nothing against anybody who wants to work, because everybody has to do what they do for themselves. But for me, I just think the culture is, when women are at work, I feel you can't be everything.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be at home and you can't be in work. No, it's not that. You can work and you can be at home, but you have no time for you then, so your head is everywhere. And it's just this constant battle you're running all the time. And I found when I decided to stay at home and just look after my family. Now, I must say I worked from home. I didn't work outside of the home since I was 1.5, and he's 18 now. But still, your head is somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right. Do you feel in Ireland that there is a culture of our stay-at-home moms making a comeback? Do you think?
I think so, yeah.
I think they are in America.
I think so. And I think sometimes you're guilty if you go to work because you want to be at home. And then if you're at home, you feel you should be at work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's to be content with what you have. And I just, like, I do work at home. I'm always on the go, because friends say, how can you be at home all day? I'd love to be out at work or whatever.
You're busy the whole time.
I'm always busy. I'm always on the go, and I make myself busy. And yeah, but definitely, I think the culture is swinging around again, where people are trying to stay at home. Well, that's with inflation now. I don't know what's going to happen, because people are paying up their collar with money and things like that.
What kind of sacrifices financially do you think you had to make when you were more a stay-at-home mom versus working all the time?
Well, I would have left a really good job with a good salary.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved to down the country, and we sold our house in the boom, which was a boom at the time, but the country was doing really, really well, and property was going up and up and up. But then we bought in the boom as well. So for me, things like home baking, home cooking, you see me, like, I have a clothes horse. I hang my clothes out in the line.
Yeah.
I don't use my dryer. I dry my clothes outside, bring them in and put them in the dryer for like 20 minutes. If it's raining, I have my clothes horse, hang them there, and then into the dryer for a few minutes to soften them. Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
We have like low energy efficient lighting. We have lamps rather than overhead lighting in most of our rooms, things like that. And I just was really, really good while the boys were young, with budgets and things. And we didn't go on holidays for years, and things like that. Just I wouldn't consider myself frugal.
Yeah, I would consider you frugal. Okay, so Abby, I want you to take notes, because she reminds me of you, Abby. She's always here, there, and everywhere. Cassandra, sit down. And then I feel bad, because I'm like, I feel like I should be doing something. She's like hustle bustle here, a little busy bee. And she has I'm looking outside. Here's her clothesline. She has a clothesline. We don't have a clothesline, but we should, because we live in the country and it's windy. Cut down some of the expenses a little bit. But I consider that frugal, because, like you said, you do cut down on your electricity.
But I don't like the tumble dryer anyway, because I feel it damages your clothes. Well, my friends say to me, how is your ESB bill? ESB is our electricity in Ireland. How is it so low? But things like that. Yeah. Like we don't have any special nighttime rates or anything. The way there's nighttime, daytime. Right. I don't know if you have those in America.
Not with, we don't. We're not on it.
No. But just small little things. And I bake a lot, and I like to cook, and I plan as well. I plan my meals so that I remember. I buy meat and put it in the freezer, and then I take it out the night before. I don't really follow recipes. I just started to throw things in here, there,
and it always tastes good. So, Hi Ashley, and hi Anne's Augustine. Some people are able to make it on this time. Let's see, right now, if it's 10 here, it is 4 p.m. Central, so evening on Saturday. A lot of people are able to make it on Saturday that aren't normally on Monday. So, but I'm glad you're able to join. We just kind of threw this together, and we haven't really talked much about it.
No.
I'm like, okay, you want to go do a Gently Led Sisters? Let's go. But if anything, you can get enjoyment out of listening to her accent, because I've been enjoying it all week. So, and talking to the Irish people. What are some differences? What do you think the predominant religion is in Ireland?
Oh, Catholicism, without a doubt. Well, historically it was Catholicism. Now I think less and less people go to way less people go to mass. When I was young, I grew up in a place called Ennis in County Clare, raised Catholic, and we had like 2 big churches in town and 2 smaller ones. I went to the cathedral, which was the big church, and that was full. And there was mass at 9, 10, 11, 12 every day. And then they used to do Saturday evening one. And funny, I think that was brought in because people wouldn't get up on a Sunday because they'd been out on Saturday night. So it was 7 o'clock on a Saturday evening. churches were full now, that's not the case. You know, I mean, there's less and less people. People still call themselves Catholics, but they wouldn't practice so much, you know. And then Protestant would have been next, I would say. Church of Ireland, yeah.
And I find the people here are lovely. That's my new word, lovely.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Gorgeous,
as my husband said.
Gorgeous, but it's not just gorgeous, it's gorgeous. The way you say it, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
But they're very chit-chatty. They like to talk. It's a very friendly culture, but it's a culture made up, they like to drink, correct?
Yeah, a lot, like the culture would be social.
Very social.
Very social.
Yes.
So you have, like, you know, there's a lot of, I wouldn't say, like, yeah, the culture is based around alcohol, and that can be socially, and there would be a lot of people addicted to alcohol as well. I would say it's number one in this country.
Well, we saw a man when we went into the city.
Yeah, and like, you know, your rite of passage when you come to 18 was like your mom and dad would buy you a drink. Now, I was lucky my parents didn't drink. My dad would have the odd drink at a wedding. My mom was a pioneer, as we call them in Ireland. She never drank. And then
That's what you call people who never drink?
A pioneer. It's a Catholic thing. You earn your right of, she had a pioneer's badge.
Really?
Yeah, so like when you get to your confirmation, you make your confirmation, it's one of the Catholic sacraments, you take a pledge that you would never drink until you're whatever, but she never broke her pledge.
Oh, that's cool.
Most people break it by the time they're 16.
Yeah. I remember you saying something that she was a pioneer, but I didn't really understand what that meant.
Yeah.
Here, I'm thinking like pioneer woman going into the West. That's my vision.
Oh,
of
yeah,
pioneer.
yeah, no, pioneers that she never drank alcohol.
That's really cool.
And her sister didn't either. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's sort of a rite of passage, but unfortunately now it's younger and younger. Teenagers are starting, and that's difficult. It's difficult bringing my boys up because they're surrounded by, you know, like excuse me, one thing I wanted to say was it's very hard in your culture to understand the lack of Christian fellowship in our country.
Yes, I definitely want to talk about
and
that.
The lack of churches as well. Like we're blessed with our church where we are, but you know, there's not many Baptist churches in Ireland. There's a few dotted around, but it's just for my boys to have Christian fellowship is very slim. So we have to work, and they have to work extra hard. So that's why, you know, I can tell them not to do this and not to do that. They can read their Bible, and they know that God wouldn't want them to do this, and wouldn't want them, you know, to drink or whatever. But it has to be a heart thing. And I said that to you before, because especially my 18-year-old, you know, he's got 8 friends, and 3 of them and him don't drink, right? Which is quite unusual, because most boys would drink.
That is unusual.
Yeah.
So. And I think too, I do believe after being here and just talking to you for the whole week, which I knew anyways, Americans are spoiled when it comes to like-minded fellowship.
100%.
We are. I mean, if you look in the phone book, even around us, we have another IFB church within 30 minutes, you know, and then we have another one within an hour. And we have a Baptist camp we can go to 45 minutes away. And that's almost unheard of in Ireland. Yeah,
and I'll give you an example. I have friends in church. You know, my friends in church, you met some of them yesterday, and they're lovely. Yes. But we have one couple in our village, they're close friends that are saved as well. And then we have a couple who live up in Northern Ireland, who we met through the IFB, and we have friends in Dublin. So it's not as if we have loads of Christian friends around, you know, but I've got my good friend Ellen and another friend Lorraine, and they're friends, but they would see a change in me over the years. But yeah, and I have a friend Joan who lives close by, and her husband, they're saved. So look, you know, it's just that I just wanted to say that I mean, when we were in America, and especially down in Illinois, there's churches on every corner.
Yeah.
Whatever they are, but there's churches, and it's, you know, whereas here that's not the case. Every village has a Catholic church, and some have Catholic and Protestant. And in the village I'm in, it's tiny. It's a country village, you know. It's about 20 minutes from the city, but we have 2 churches, a Protestant and a Catholic church.
Right.
So we would be very different.
What do you think, when you got saved, what ways did your life start changing as far as culturally, with friendships, the way you raised your kids?
Yeah, so, well, first off, I thought my husband was saved first, and we had this perception that you had to be like, really, really strict at the start. I said
of
that
course.
too.
Yeah.
But well, I suppose, I remember when my husband first came in and told me gave me the gospel, and I remember saying, as I said, is that our God? Is that my God? So it took a little while, and I sort of resented the fact that he was telling me about God, because I consider myself very close to God, and I'd go to mass the odd Sunday. Didn't go every Sunday, and I brought Niall to mass the odd Sunday. But my life changed in so many ways. Like do you ever feel like you're never 100% happy? I can't explain it now, right? I love Clive. My husband's a dote. He's lovely and he's funny, and I have kids and I have my life, but I was never 100% happy. It's always like you're planning something, or there's something missing, or moving on to the next thing. Where do we go? What do we do? But it was like this calmness. I said it to you the other day. It was like this calmness came over me, and no matter what is thrown in our way, you just know that God has your back, and that you always have somebody to turn to. And we've had a tough few years. My mum has Alzheimer's. It hasn't been easy, and there's different things that have happened. But I have that sense of calmness, and especially with COVID, I would have gone over the edge if I wasn't saved.
Right.
And I didn't have Jesus. I would have it would have been completely different. Yeah. So that was the first thing. And then my boys, well, drink as well. Clive and I, we were never big drinkers. I was when I was younger, as in we'd go to, we'd go out and we'd go to the pub, and we'd go to nightclubs. That's the thing you do.
Right.
But we were never big drinkers. Like, my kids would never have been in a pub. That's another thing that used to be big culture. On a Sunday, parents would bring the kids, to the pub, and they'd be given lemonade or whatever, and play away there, and Mommy and Daddy'd have drinks, but we never did that. Now, we'd be a little bit younger than that culture, but it's still there. So that took a little while as well, because it's just through reading your Bible and doing your own studies or whatever. So I remember Clive was one Christmas, and we'd had a glass of wine with dinner, and my dad was here, and my mum, and he had his yearly glass of wine. He doesn't really drink. And then it came to New Year's Day, and Clive said, "That's it now." He got present of a port. It's a real Irish, like it's like, I don't know what it's like. It's like a liquor rather than.
I don't know my liquor.
No, excuse me. It's like a liqueur, not a liquor. So, yeah, probably that's, anyway. I'm getting words crossed. But Clive got a present of a really expensive one, and he would maybe have that once in a year. So he said, "That's it. Tomorrow, I'm not drinking anymore, because it's not right." And we discussed it, and I said, "Well, if you're not, I'm not," because I was following his lead or whatever.
Right.
And that was January. And I remember we were going to America to see you. And the night before, we were having our dinner, and I said to Clive, "I won't be able to have a drink at the airport," because it was tradition. You go to the airport and you have a glass of wine or whatever. And he said, "Well, I'm not telling you, you're not to have a glass." And I was like, "No, I won't," because it's, I knew it was wrong, and I just knew. So anyway, I never even thought of it when I was over there. Completely different culture. There's no bar in a hotel. Obviously,
yes, America.
Yeah, like there isn't a bar in every street corner that I can see. Never thought of it. And this coming year, we're 5 years. This January. And honestly, it doesn't bother me.
We just drink coffee.
We went out today, and we were in this beautiful little cafe. There was a sign up, Irish coffee, and I had to run up and tell Cassandra, because I know what she's like with drinks, and I said, "Do not order the Irish coffee, because it's coffee with whiskey."
I probably wouldn't have known. And it's funny, I saw that and I'm like, Irish coffee. I wonder if that's a different flavor.
Yeah, and I know, because it's not your cut, you wouldn't have a clue. So anyway, yeah, so that was one thing. And then and then I stay home. So that was another thing. And then our family, we've given the gospel to anybody we know that will listen. But we are the only ones in our family that are saved. And that's okay, my mom, I believe, is. But there's been a lot of differences that I've got good friends, but people stop asking you things because you don't drink, and you're not cool, and there's something different about you, and lots of things like that slipped in.
Well, the one thing that I wanted to say that I thought was neat was that in a country where it is so hard to find a Baptist church, a good church to go to, you could have easily, and you started growing. You started listening to online preaching. You started growing, not saying that you can't grow that way. But I feel like you found a church. Just tell a little bit about how Clive found your church, how he started searching for churches after you were saved.
Yeah, so he was searching for churches, and he found, like, he went to lots of different Christian churches, not necessarily Baptist churches. And then he came across this little church in a village in Cork, and he went there with my son Niall, and then I went, and then we were going there for about a year or two, and then we decided then we'd stay at home. So we were doing church at home with another couple that we knew, and then they knew another church, and we went there. And we're there a good few years now, and we love it. Yeah.
But you got plugged in. You're not just online listeners anymore.
No.
You're in an actual church with actual people, and
it wasn't good for the boys. Like,
no.
It wasn't good for me.
No.
Like, you in this world, you need to surround yourself with Christian people. And I've learned so much from the ladies in my church, and I've become friends with so many of them. We have a ladies meeting once a month. We just the warmth, the friendship. Now that takes time.
It does take time.
When I walked into that church, I didn't know anybody, and while I love to talk, when I know you, I can be a little bit quiet. Well, for about 2 minutes, and then I talk as a nurse. But we didn't know anybody, and we went in, and it took time, but yeah.
It took time, but here you are, you're learning how to love the brethren. You're learning how to put up with other people. You're learning how to work through problems, you know, and you're growing close to other Christians where you have that bond. Whereas if you're just listening online, and I just say that to say, everyone has an excuse why they can't find a church. You could have plenty of excuses, why you can't find a church in Ireland.
Well, absolutely. And if we couldn't find a proper Baptist church, we would have had to find some. Well, no, it was always very important that they were KJV only and the gospel is right. And after that, you can work with anything.
Oh, yeah.
That's what my husband felt. And we found a great church, KJV only, and the gospel is correct. And, it's fun. And we have church every Sunday. Now, before COVID, it was Sunday morning and Sunday evening, but now it's just Sunday morning. We have our own church building. And loads, like tomorrow's the 28th anniversary, and there's a big fun day planned, and and
you came the right week.
You came the right week, plus it's Father's Day, and that's so good for your husband,
right?
Yeah, but so no, and it's very important though, because when the chips are down and life gets tough, you need fellow Christians around you. And like, I have friends in church that are 20 years younger than I am, and like, we'll meet for lunch, or kids will come over or whatever. So yeah, I couldn't live without my church.
And that's good. Okay, so hello, Joyce. Someone asked, and I know what your answer is going to be for this one, because we just had one of the traditional meals tonight. What's a traditional dish that y'all, I can't even say that good because I'm a northerner. Y'all, that you guys, what's a traditional dish that y'all make for family, savory or dessert?
Both, I would say, but savory would be, we just did a slow-cooked roast lamb, slow-cooked lamb. So a leg of lamb, mashed potatoes. What else we have? Green beans, carrots, and parsnips. I don't know, do you have parsnips?
I did. I don't know if we have, do we have parsnips in America?
They're like a white carrot.
I don't know if we have parsnips.
Yeah. What else did I do? Stuffing?
Yes, but the stuffing is different too. And they sell, I'm noticing, I've kind of been doing some Facebook posts of all the differences that I'm noticing. There's quite a few that I just had no clue until I was here. But they sell bags of stuffing, but it's almost just like breadcrumbs.
So
breadcrumbs.
Yeah, seasoned breadcrumbs, and then you just add in some butter and loads of different herbs and spices. You can just do your own breadcrumbs, but like, we were busy today, so. And then for dessert, like, after the boys went out for a walk in the forest, we were full. And so we tidy up and do this, and then we're going to have dessert. So fresh Irish strawberries are beautiful.
It was good too.
Homemade ice cream and cream, but I'd make anything like sponge cake. I made a pecan and maple pie the other day. But traditionally, potatoes are a big thing in Ireland.
Yes, I'm noticing that.
Yeah, big thing. But then again, it's like everything else, different cultures are creeping in. So we've had everything. We've had Italian, we've had Irish breakfast. We had
spaghetti the first night, and then Chinese last night.
And we did homemade burgers, and we had
That was American night. That's right.
American night. Yeah.
But I'm noticing a better quality in their food overall. I feel there's a much better quality. Their Aldi is better than our Aldi. It has a lot better selection of food, a lot better. The meat looks better, tastes better.
But all of our cows will be grass fed. We export beef from Ireland. It's known all over the world. Chicken, our food is really good. Very lucky because we have a Lidl or Lidl, whichever you want to pronounce it. Lidl in Ireland, as well as Aldi, and they do a great range of organic vegetables, which aren't that expensive. If you were to buy organic vegetables in the other shop I was in today, where I got the meat, they're really expensive. So I shop around. I have the time now. But yeah, the quality of food is excellent, and we don't. The way I was saying that to you before was take your Oreos. So your Oreos in America would have high fructose corn syrup in them.
Everything has high fructose.
Not here.
Yeah.
Not here. No, I wouldn't have known what that was. That was my husband was saying. Oh, whatever. I just remember the first time we went to the States, my son was about 8 or 9, and he cried one night because there was too much sugar in the food.
Everything is so sweet.
Even the cereal was I don't do fizzies, as you know. Well, we have some because you're here, but I don't do fizzies and that, so they're not used to all that sugar. Even the cereal was, the pinky loopy things.
The Fruit Loops.
Yeah. So
well, one thing I have noticed that they have some sparkling lemonade here that I've been drinking off and on, and it is not as sweet as it would be in America.
No,
nothing's as sweet here as it is in America.
But the problem here is that it might say no sugar, but then they have aspartame in it. So you're nearly better off having the sugar, like the Ribena you've been drinking, because that's a good fruit that you add to water.
Yeah, that's my new favorite drink here is Ribena. It's blackcurrant. You just put concentrate in your cup and fill the rest with water. One thing that most Irish do not have is ice.
Yeah, so
People
we would
don't
have
put ice in their drinks.
Yeah, they do, but we have got used to it because our freezer makes ice, but it's not filtered water. And in Ireland, they fluoridate the water. So we have a Berkey, but I just find it too much hassle to make the ice. So
well, in restaurants, where was it? In restaurants, I had to ask for ice at the one place.
The breakfast, but they normally would have ice.
Yeah. And it's very, very it was like 3 ice cubes.
Yeah, I know.
The serving sizes are very small here.
Even in the food.
Yeah.
Like the Coke bottles, your boys were so funny.
Yeah, they're like that.
They're like that. But they're getting smaller every year, but they cost more. I noticed things like that.
Well, Tommy today, when we stopped at the little diner, he ordered 2 sodas. He ordered the 2 cans because he's like, it's basically like 1 can in America.
Yeah. And our food portions wouldn't be half as big. Like when we go to America, for the 4 of us, we probably get 2 lots of pancakes and things like that. I love your breakfast though, in your restaurant.
Yes.
Pancakes and all
they're
that
the ones who
stuff.
introduced us to our favorite pancake restaurant in town, Maples. Yeah, we had never even eaten there, and they were like, we found this really good pancake house. But I am enjoying the food here. I definitely feel, maybe it's because I'm just acting like a tourist, but I feel like it tastes better.
No, it does. It's very good quality food. Loads of people that come to Ireland say that. And the potatoes and like we eat a lot of rice and pasta as well. But and like we have really good Irish breakfast as well, which we have had this week once or twice if you've been here, but I wouldn't normally. I just eat oats, but like sausage and bacon and pudding. White pudding is another thing.
Yes, that's not pudding, American pudding.
Not dessert, no.
No.
It's like a spicy sausagey bread thing. Nice, I like it. It's white.
It tastes like something in America, but I can't put my hand on it. I feel like it tastes like some kind of German meat that I've eaten before, but I can't remember what it is. But it's okay. And then let's see what else. Oh yes, they don't have. It's very cool here. So one thing, these are some of the perks of Ireland I have found so far. I love the weather, and we got a good week.
You're the first person to ever say they love the weather.
No, I love the weather here.
Oh, you got a good week. So we've had lovely weather. It was a bit cooler today. So Ireland, you could get 4 seasons in one day. And I really mean that. But we are very green because we have a lot of rain. But we've been lucky in the past year, but this week you've been so lucky. I prayed and prayed that you would have nice weather so you could see Ireland in its beauty.
It's been nice. It's beautiful out right now. And it's been just a couple of raindrops here and there, 70s, 60s. I know all my family is dealing with 100-degree Fahrenheit weather
That's very hot.
this week,
Yeah.
and it's been gorgeous. And
we don't have air conditioning.
No, no fans. They're weird. You can hear every little sound of everything in the house. So I have a fan app that I've had on my phone to try to help me go to sleep.
Sorry, that's my child at the window.
Oh, yep, there they are. You might see some kids coming in. We'll see. But no, not very many bugs.
No,
which I love.
Yeah,
you know how I am about bugs.
No, we have like the flies and that, but we don't have. We don't have all the crawlies you have.
No. Nope. You don't. Okay, so someone asked, hey, Nicole. Nicole's on.
Hi, Nicole.
Is it more accepted or normal to be a stay-at-home mom there? I feel like I know more women who work 40 plus hours a week than women who are able to raise their kids.
No, people still look at me and think, what happened to me?
Well, do you remember tell them what your neighbor said the other day?
Oh yeah, about being bored. I'm not bored. Oh, I couldn't stay home, I'd be bored. And I find that a little bit like, she doesn't mean to be hurtful or anything, but it's like, oh, my other friend, she's so looking forward to her holiday in July. And I was like, I feel I'm on a permanent vacation because I get up and, the most important thing in my day, obviously, are my prayers or whatever, and my Bible reading, and my children and my husband. That is it. I don't have to worry about getting up, getting everything done, one thing I found, and I'm not being selfish, but as a woman, you put yourself last. We all know that. But when you're at home, you get a little bit more time for yourself. As in, now I know a lot of people will have littles, maybe a lot of little kids watching this, and they might be thinking, oh, I don't know about that. And I know how hard that can be.
Yeah.
It gets easier as time goes on. But I find for me, I just feel I'm on more of the stress has gone out of life for me. The stress that sits there, the guilt of, because I traveled quite a bit when I worked as well, and that guilt. And while I was at home, my head wasn't.
You were thinking of all the other things you had going on.
Yeah. So yeah, look, Nicole, it was Nicole that asked that question. Yeah, people would think. And
Augustine asked that.
Oh yeah, that like, how can you be at home all day and you're not bored or whatever? No, I'm not bored. I love being at home. I love looking after my family.
I can't imagine getting bored while at home.
No.
I have too much going through my head just the things I need to get done, which I have a lot of help. I think I have more help than you do.
Yeah, well, I have 2 boys, and my husband's good. You've seen him.
Yeah.
And the boys are okay, as boys are. Like, they'll bring their plates out and do their bit and make their bread, do whatever. But like but I don't mind. I'm a very organized person. But and my mom has Alzheimer's, so I can give her and my dad a bit more time. They live 2 hours away, but I can go and see them and come back in the one day and be back for the kids. So all of that just takes, for me, it takes the stress and the pressure away. And I can see why you're meant to be at home. It's just the most natural thing in the world.
Right. Well, I've often said that when we bear a double curse, if we have to go out and work a job along with everything, all the duties we have at home, because we have both things working now, we're bearing part of the making the income if we have to. And I know some women have to. So,
and 100%, I don't want to offend anybody, and I don't want to. It's not that it's it's not a bad thing or whatever. You have to do what you have to do, and sometimes staying at home is more stressful for people because they need money or whatever. But for me, it's like I just feel more content, and I do think that marriages break down because of the stress. Say for instance, when we used to live in Maynooth, which is quite close to the city in Dublin where I worked, so I had to be up at 6, get myself ready, then get my son when he was small, get him to the childminder, then hopefully catch the bus to get me, because I drove, but you wouldn't drive into the city. So I used to get a bus in, and then the panic of working a day, and then I used to be a trainer, so in HR, in human resources, and then I had to leave at a certain time and then I was at the end of the city, so all the buses were full coming out. So then I had the pressure of getting the bus to get home, to pick up my son, to get in to cook dinner, have 5 minutes chat with my husband, get up, bath my child and put him to bed. And it broke my heart because I didn't have my son till I was 32. I had lost twins before that, and here I am then after having my son handing him over to somebody else. And my parents lived, that time they lived 3.5 hours away. So for me, that was way too stressful.
Yeah. And Asheen said, hi, Mom.
Oh, hi, Mom. Hi, Asheen. As long as that's all he says.
Well, I could ban him.
Yeah.
Block. No, and then Tommy said, all I have to say about Ireland is that the food is so good, I don't want to go back to America.
Yeah. Your boys are great. We've had such fun.
Tommy loves his food. So yes. Nicole asked, what's the best Irish dessert?
Best? Oh, it has to be hands down rhubarb crumble.
Ooh.
Hot.
I love rhubarb.
We're having that tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah, so rhubarb crumble, so it's like short crust pastry. My husband makes the nicest pastry. It was his grandmother's recipe, but short crust pastry, and then you stew the rhubarb with sugar, and then you put the rhubarb into the pastry, and then you pop it in the oven, and you can have it hot with custard or cream or both, and ice cream. Yummy.
Yes, that sounds amazing. Nicole said, bring some food home, Tommy.
Yeah, I know, yeah. We've a little bit in the bag.
Yes. And she also makes every night Irish bread.
Yeah, soda bread. So you can do brown or white. So the brown there's loads of things in the brown, but the white is so simple. And you literally throw plain flour, baking soda, half teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of caster sugar into a bowl. Add in buttermilk, mix it with a spoon into the oven, half an hour, and there's your bread.
And it's good. I really, really like the Irish.
I put chia seeds in too.
Yes, and it tastes really, really good with the eggs. That's another thing. No one refrigerates their eggs here.
No
one. In Aldi, it was the weirdest thing. I walked down an aisle, and right there in the aisle, no refrigeration or anything, was the stack of eggs. They all said free range.
Yeah,
almost all.
I'm very lucky. My friend Joan lives 5 minutes from my house, and she's a chicken coop, so I have unlimited eggs fresh. I think when you wash the egg, you put them in the fridge, somebody said.
Yes, you do. And that's what they do in America. They wash all the eggs, which is stupid because when you wash the bloom off, it's called the bloom. And when a chicken lays an egg, God made it so that when they lay it, there's actually protective coating on it. When you wash that protective coating off, then bacteria and things can be introduced, and that's why you refrigerate it, which Julia from church has told me that, but I didn't know other countries didn't even refrigerate them.
Yeah, I would, like when we get our fridge, when you buy a fridge, there's an egg tray in it.
Okay.
So people do refrigerate their eggs. I don't know if that's an American thing or not, because my fridge is
an
American fridge.
Thing. Yeah.
So yeah, possibly, but no,
all Americans. You would never go to an American house unless it's like my farm ladies or Julia's where they know this, and there's eggs on the counter, but your eggs just stay on the counter.
Yeah.
I noticed. So that was crazy to me because I don't know, I just always think you should refrigerate eggs. And
then my eggs are covered in the feathers and the chicken.
Right.
They would be they're so good though. They're really good. You can see the yolk, and she feeds them melon actually and chicken feed or whatever. So yeah, they're good.
Nicole asked, and this would, Abby said, why isn't Asheen on the show?
Please. He's so funny. He's my 13-year-old.
We have been dying laughing at him, but he knows he's funny. I'm afraid of what he would say. He's hilarious though.
Yeah. He'd know better not to pop his head in. He's been warned.
Asheen, don't. And then, Tommy said Asheen is too famous. He'll steal the show. Nicole asked, do farmers use pesticides there?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I try to buy organic as much as I can. And it's not too expensive. It is more expensive, but I like it. Sometimes you can't get organic raspberries, things like that. But we, you can't see now, but we have some space over next to our house. We've just bought a polytunnel. So there's
a what?
A polytunnel, so that we're going to grow all our own vegetables.
I've never heard of that. A polytunnel.
Yeah, it's like a dome.
Okay, yes, I've seen those.
Dome. Yeah, we had one, but it blew down in a storm. So yeah, we want to grow our own like potatoes and carrots, and we have strawberries out there already. But yeah, they use fertilizers and pesticides.
But you can get organic. But I feel like you said that Ireland already has a stricter guideline that they go by for the food.
Yeah, so even like you'll see a lot of recalls oh, I can't think what it's called, but there's something like that's banned here in Ireland, and I don't know how, but it seeps in sometimes. So it could be like I remember seeing cart doors. I don't know if you have heard of them. It's like I think it's French cart door ice creams, and they were pulled because of something that was in it, like that was banned in Ireland. So they would be very strict. Organic is strict. Yeah. They have to meet certain criteria to be called organic, and they'd be open to regular inspection. And then as well, one thing, this loophole, all right, I remember hearing this before, that just because it says Irish chicken or Irish meat doesn't necessarily mean it is. It could have been brought in, imported and packed here, so it gets the Irish label. So you have to be very careful that it's produced in Ireland is on it.
I have a feeling that Ireland is known for its food, because even when we were in the stores, I noticed that's a bragging right. Irish whatever,
Yeah.
you know, Irish milk, Irish butter, you know.
Food is huge here. And there would be an awful lot of awards given to foodie, you know, people, food makers. Yeah.
Yep. So also one thing about, yes, they're talking on there. Don't read it. Asheen said there would be 1,000 people watching if I was on the show.
Pride is not an issue, obviously.
No, it's not. He's been cracking us up though. So they have very strict gun laws here.
Oh yeah, like our police don't even carry guns.
That is one thing that shocked me when she told me that. I said, how do they stop people then?
Yeah, so we do have an armed police force, but our normal everyday policeman on the street doesn't carry a gun. And you have to have a special license to have a gun, but it would be mostly for hunting and things like that. People, like, you wouldn't have a concealed, like, you know, you can carry guns.
Pistols.
No, we wouldn't have. No, we have one of those, what you call those, airsoft guns. That's all we have.
But there's a good security system if anyone's watching and they're thinking about robbing us. Or robbing them.
Yeah.
The Gardaí.
Gardaí is the Irish for guards. That's what we call them, the Gardaí. They're the Garda Síochána is what they're called. So yeah, so no, they don't. They have, and it's very tough on them, because at least when I was growing up, you had respect.
Right.
Whether they had a gun or not, you had respect. But it's there isn't as much respect anymore.
And then how is crime though? Because they don't have guns.
It's not too bad. Like, you know, well, it's worse than it was. I was telling Cassandra, I can remember when I was young, so I'm 51 now, so say 70s, 80s. I can remember when the guards, or you'd hear on the news there was a murder, and you might hear about one every year, or maybe one or two. Now, sure, it's like, you know.
But it's not like Chicago where 25 people are getting shot in a weekend.
No.
But do you, interestingly enough though, maybe it's because you have more access to guns here because, you know, we're America. But Chicago is a no gun zone. So you're not allowed legally to even conceal carry anything there, but that's where all the crime is happening.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're going to find it somewhere. We have, like, drugs is an issue. There's gangs in Ireland. I mean, you know, and drugs are, like, weed is illegal and all that sort of thing. So the more, you know, when you ban things, people want them more, you know, it's hidden. It's underneath. There's guns there, all right.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, like, there's, you know, there's people killed all the time, but, yeah, like, your normal everyday person. And I mean, it's big at the moment, you know, like we were on the beach yesterday, and a newspaper journalist happened to be passing by, and when I go to the beach, it's like we bring our whole living room. We had a couch and we had a table and we had everything. It was funny. But this man asked could he take our photographs. So we were buying the paper today, because I wouldn't normally buy. Is that what you call it, the newspaper?
Newspaper, yes.
And when Cassandra was looking through, there was something about Alabama shooting on it. And she said, why are they talking about Alabama?
I know.
Shootings in Ireland, but it's always talking about gun culture. That's what it is. It's pushing that.
Yes, it's pushing the anti-gun culture. So Nicole asked how many people are in the whole island. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if we were in the paper, Asheen. We were supposed to be, and I thought that would be the cherry on top. If I come to Ireland, I'm in an Irish newspaper.
Yeah, it would have been funny. We'll find her yet.
Yes,
there somewhere.
We'll find it.
There's probably close to 5 million in Ireland now.
Wow.
Yeah. 5-6 million.
So all that to say, we need some IFB missionaries to come over here and start churches, please. It's we need more churches over here. So
Yeah.
doing it the good way of starting churches, good Baptist churches. And there are, I just heard of a missionary. I was telling you the one that Carrie told me about that's in Dublin. It's just starting out. So, they're trying. But I find it interesting though, that if there are American missionaries, shouldn't they be sending out people of their own? Like sending out nationals, training nationals to go ahead and start a church. So I would think that would be the goal.
There have been a few, like there's been a few start churches, but one couple did, and then they went back to America. So like there's branches all the time, but it's much harder to find a church here. And I was even saying it to your boys, like even for my boys, one's 18 now, one's 13, finding, I pray every day that they meet somebody who's saved. Obviously they have to marry somebody who's saved,
right?
Get them saved, So that's a worry. That's a worry in your mind all the time. So anything else in the chat?
Can we be traveling evangelists that come visit?
Yes. I just told Cassandra we'll have to get a bus load over and we'll do the whole tour and we'll hire out a coach.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah. I would love to plan our whole family coming over here just because we know they've been like our personal tour guides. It's better than any tour bus. They know so much. We were walking we were walking through the castle. We went to visit a castle. And Clive was just telling us everything about it. He knew everything about the castle. And it's really neat seeing the old ruins here, because this castle that we visited was built in 1450. So we don't have anything in America, obviously, that old. There's nothing around that old. So it's really neat seeing
we have a huge culture in this country. Very like there would be a lot of Irish dance. I'm sure you've heard of river dance, but before ever river dance, there was like Irish dance, traditional. Sean-O's was the old Irish dance, none of the wigs, none of the costumes and things like that. Just and music, traditional Irish music would be huge here as well. So that a lot of Americans, like we were in a gift shop today, and I asked the lady, "Did you have many tourists today?" And she had said we had 20 busloads.
20 busloads. That was by the Blarney Castle.
And that's 20 busloads of 52 people. Yeah. So work out the math. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. And we saw tour buses, but I will say hats off to the tour bus drivers. Because the roads here, the roads here are 2 lanes are the size of 1 lane in America. And I would not want to be driving a bus down those and they wind just like this. And my boys were talking about how they were like, "Miss Fiona, you're a better driver than me or Jason because you know how to do these roads like a boss or something." I don't know what they said, but she does.
Because I know, even your husband was here before, and people they come over and they think, "Oh yeah, whatever, I drive," but it's on the opposite side of the road.
It's so scary.
I think the UK and Ireland are the only people who drive on the left-hand side because the English occupied Ireland for a long, long time, years back. And so therefore we have the same driving system as they have. So that's why we drive on the left.
Nicole asked, "Don't kiss the Blarney Stone. Is it true that locals pee on it?"
I've heard that. You told me that.
I never
heard that before.
Amanda
I never kissed it because I'd never stop. But loads of people come over and it's a bit scary. I've seen it. I've been there, but it's like they hold you back.
Yes.
And there's a big dip down and you kiss the stone. So
I wouldn't want to do that because it was closed when we just went to the gift shop around there because it's a really big gift shop today.
And we had been in the castle in Bunratty, and the folk park is beautiful. You get a chance to visit. It shows you how the old people lived back hundreds of years ago.
Yes, the Bunratty was a really cool place to go, and I think that one has less traffic probably than Blarney. You think?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, we just got on a good day. Yeah.
But I really enjoyed that. So it's not inappropriate, Nicole. I heard the same thing. I think Amanda told me that is how I knew that. So, and she was disappointed I didn't go kiss it. But
you told me. You told me, and I'm sure they're right.
I wouldn't have wanted to anyways because
everyone's kissing it anyway.
Yeah, and you have to grab something and lean way back, and then you could see the ground from like where I wasn't interested in it. So
the cliffs of Moher.
That was the most beautiful thing.
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. I can picture just Irish movies being made there.
Yeah, and Ireland is an island, so it's surrounded by water. Unless you're in the Midlands, you can go to the water from anywhere around the edge. And we live down the south, so we're in Cork, which is the biggest county, and we have beaches everywhere around within 30 minutes.
Yeah, which is why I think I loved it, because my husband and I both love water. We love the ocean and hearing it. And then it was neat too, because I've never been to a place when the tide's out like it was.
Yeah, you
So
said
we were
that.
able to walk way out and then find shells and stuff along the beach. And it is a beautiful place. Beautiful place, lovely people, good food. But it's nice for a visit for me. I'm happy to live in America. So
That's the one thing. You see, America, you can be in a different country without going outside of your country.
you can.
Because each state, whereas in Ireland, we have Northern Ireland. So when the English invaded Ireland back in 1916, when we separated, well, we signed the treaty, we only kept 30 counties. So there's 36 counties in Ireland. So 6 were kept by the British, and the other 30 to the Republic of Ireland, which is where I am. So if we're going anywhere, we can go up to the north of Ireland. And we have Christian friends up there too, James and Linda. But other than that, you have to get on a boat or a plane. And that never, ever bothered us before. I love this country. I love living in this country because the food,
Right.
And you don't have to see the drink culture. We never see it because our friends, we don't see it, and we're not in town, and we don't go to the pub.
It hasn't been a bother for us. So.
No, we don't see that, so that's okay. But during COVID, I was so claustrophobic. I just felt like, because that freedom was taken away, and that's where I worry for the future. That
Right, and I truly believe America will be the last holdout. And like I said, America's so large. Even if we're stuck in America, we'll have something different to explore. We can drive 24 hours over here and 24 hours over here.
I love it.
So long.
Or you can, because as well, our climate is it can be beautiful, but then you're never guaranteed. So I couldn't say to Sandra, we'll have a barbecue on Saturday.
Right.
Because it could rain. And it might tell you it'd be sunny, because yesterday it was supposed to be 25.
It was.
And it was warm, but it was cloudy. But I would love, you like a bit of sun. So it's nice to be able to travel. And I would love if I just got in my car. Driving doesn't bother me. I'd drive 24 hours if I thought I could go to sun or snow.
Right. And that's it. You can have two different spectrums. So, but I think ultimately it comes down to being content. Learning contentment wherever you are. And like you had told me earlier, you got to the point where you just decided, I'm not worrying about stuff I can't control.
No, I can't. And my husband's the same. I physically can't, because I'm soft. I'm a worrier anyway. But I can't do that anymore. And God is in the ultimate control. And you just get on with your day to day and don't think too far into the future, and just live your life. And if I never get out of the country, but it doesn't bother me, it bothers me for my children. Because I want them to have the freedom to go and travel and, meet other Christians and meet wives or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, Tommy had a great idea. He told Niall, he's like, Niall, come over to America and we'll go travel to the mega churches and find wives.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Niall's like,
Yeah.
Kind of had a spark in his eye with that one. But yeah, I think for younger people, it's harder to understand contentment. But I know with me, I've never visited a place, and although I have fun and I love seeing everything, but I'm like, oh, I have to move here now. I know it might be different with America versus another country.
No, I would never, ever, ever have thought of leaving this country until I became a Christian.
Yeah.
And for me, it's no, I have loads.
It's more about your kids.
My kids. It's not about my husband.
You, because you'd be happy here.
Yeah. And we're still very young. Well, I feel young in my head, but it's fine for us and everything that happens, but it's scary for children.
Yeah.
To think that you can't go, you can't have that freedom. But it might all change. Now we can travel in Europe, all around Europe. We can go, to lots of other countries, but we have this draw to America. And that's just the way it is.
I think it's the religious part, I believe. Just knowing there's so many other like-minded Christians in America. And we truly are. We have the most out of any country in the world. America is rich with Christianity and real believers, versus other countries and things. So,
and that can be quite lonely.
Yes.
It can be lonely being Christian in a predominantly Catholic and even if they're not practicing Catholics, they still, it's like, what? Born again, you're what?
Right.
It's like, but Bible believing Christian. But look, I'm not ashamed. I don't care. I know my life. I know where we are now, and I've never been so content. But at the same time, for my children, I had said that to you. I would have picked up and moved a few years ago. But then you can't move to America willy-nilly either. You have to apply for a visa. It's much easier for Americans to come here than it is for us to go there.
Well, I noticed this even with me coming here. You guys can't even come over there yet. So
yeah, that's just, I suppose, my message for any young Christian mothers out there is just try your best and be content. And once you have Jesus and you have your, your family, whatever, but like just that contentment that you get, and that to try and be happy with your lot. And like, we all have tough days. We all have difficult days for different things. And your smallies, at least that when they're small, they're at home. I know they might, it might be harder years, but when they get older, it's a different battle. It's a different worry.
It is. We were talking about it. When they're little, they have small problems. They have small boo-boos. They have small hurts that you can fix rather easily. When they get to 18, 19, 20, they have bigger hurts that sometimes mom can't fix. Their heart gets hurt, and you can't fix it, and you have to watch them go through it. And it's a different kind of thing for sure. It's tough. I think every age is tough raising kids, but there's different things that are tough throughout the years.
Yeah, and then I wasn't a saved Christian when I had my children either. And that's, I always said I wouldn't live my life with regrets. The only regret I have is that I didn't have more children. Because when you get older, it would be lovely to have more. And I know you say, oh, I have 8 and you're busy and whatever, and I have 2, and that doesn't really matter either. And I always say to my boys, it's not quantity, it's quality. And we laugh, but like, there'll always be things. But I suppose, look, it's just in America, you are so lucky with the amount of Christian fellowship that you do have.
I agree.
And
we take it for granted, and people can just get discontent, and then even just complaining about their church. They're in a good church, but yet the grass is still greener on the other side of the fence. And well, the pastor has this problem, and his wife has this problem.
I feel sorry. I said that to you before. People tend to blame other people or blame the pastor or whatever, or blame because they're not contented or they're not whatever.
Right.
But if you find a good church, like, no man is perfect, no woman is perfect, and no church is going to be perfect. But if you can find contentment in your church, I just think people are too hard on pastors sometimes and their families.
Yeah, and there's no unicorn church. I mean, they are. It's like they expect them to be perfect and holy, or perfect and sinless. Like Jesus.
We're not meant to be like that.
Right. Now, I'm not talking about the pastor not being above reproach.
Oh, no.
As far as he needs to be an example to the flock.
I'm talking about more about not rebuking.
Right.
Like, obviously, like, your pastor, he's your teacher, he's your leader, and he's supposed to be,
he's supposed to be trying to live a holy life.
Absolutely, yeah, and our pastor is lovely. But again, what I'm talking about is in general pastors.
Right. No,
they're blamed for things that, and they're just human. As in, people leave the church because the pastor said, today was Tuesday instead of Monday.
Right.
Things like that. That's what I mean.
Right.
Little things.
I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah. And, that's just, and then the pastor's wife some people think the pastor's wife is supposed to be a certain thing, or a certain person, or, she didn't look at me today, she didn't say hi, or, I don't think
some think that she's supposed to be a wallflower, other think she's not involved enough, other think she's too outgoing, then others think she's not outgoing enough, so there's.
I just like to be a help. If I'm asked to help, I help if I can. That's all, and I just.
And she is a huge help too, and she's done exactly. Even though there might be minor differences with some doctrines with her church, they've gone there and they've been nothing but a blessing, and they've never gone to the pastor and questioned and why haven't you seen this in the Bible? I know this, because
no, my husband is knowledgeable, and he would never. We have great respect for the pastor, and his wife. But that's what I mean. Like, because I often and another thing, your house sales go through really quickly. Here, if you sell a house, you could be 3 or 4 months waiting for it to close. But I often, I hear people are moving or people are going here, they're going, it's very easy to move in America.
It is very easy. I think sometimes too easy because people get hit by the discontentment bug and then they're off to the next adventure,
Yeah, you can't do that in Ireland. And a lot of people stay close by their family. Like the reason I ended up moving from Clare, which is not too far, about 2 hours from here, to Dublin originally was for work. Then I met my husband up there, and that's why I stayed up there and then we moved down to Cork. But that's why I don't live near my mom and my dad. But a lot of Irish people would stay very close by their family.
Right. And I could see that. Someone asked a question. We'll take this one and then we'll wrap it up. And Augustine asked, silly question. The stereotypical image of people from Ireland was always this wonderful redheaded person. I've since learned there are people who claim to be dark-haired Irish. And she asked your thoughts.
Yeah, red hair would have been the predominant color hair, as in blondie red. So I have my cousin Michelle, she's ginger as we call it, she's red. And if my husband grew out his beard, it would be red even though he's dark.
Asheen tends to be more reddish too.
Yeah, and I would have red as well when I was younger, reddy blonde. My dad, same. So all my family would have that red, but yeah, Irish freckles and red. Yeah.
Very light skinned.
Yeah, but then my husband would be dark and my older son would be dark once they get in the sun. And I would be blonde and dark. My mom's family were all Spanish looking. They would be black hair and dark. So I suppose it depends, but yeah, predominantly would be red hairs.
So it's not a misconception. It's actually kind of true.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually true. So, all right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. We had a good number watching, even though this was very spur of the moment. So I think we covered pretty much everything we wanted to. So do you have any final words?
No.
If you have any questions, leave them in the chat and I'm sure she will get to answer them. So I missed my Monday night lives. We will be back, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday though. Yes, we will be back with the live there. So I hope you all have a good week. Pray for me.
Pray for her flight.
Yes, we had a tornado watch. They actually saw tornado funnels in Chicago. So our trip got delayed by 4 hours. And then they almost canceled the flight as we were boarding because they were almost over their crew hours. But then finally we took off, but I'm worried about security has been a bit bad.
Yeah, because of COVID, they let go some of their security staff. But I think it's ironed out now. But before you have to be there 3 hours before, they're saying 3.5 to 4 hours. So we'll have you there about 2.5 hours from here. So,
but the biggest thing is the Atlantic Ocean. I don't like flying over it. It creeps me out. I really had bad anxiety on the way over. It was tiny and I couldn't sleep. And I didn't like the thought of being over the ocean most of the time. So just pray for my anxiety on Monday, Monday afternoon, if you think about it. So.
And then you get 6 hours back.
Yes, I lost 6 hours coming here, but I'm gaining 6 hours back going there. So, and I miss my babies, my husband, my other kids. So I'll be glad to see them. But thanks for joining, guys, and we will talk to you later.